Hey there, Megan Jansen, owner of Employee Wellness Solutions Network. I'm very excited to have Charlie Estey on as my guest today as we continue the discussion of health and wellness in our workplaces. Charlie, thanks so much for participating in this initiative to elevate this profile.
Well, thanks, Megan. Happy to join you.
Thank you. So Charlie, you're the Senior VP of Strategic Partnerships with Asset Health, Inc. in Troy, Michigan. And you've been in this space for a long time, working in the consulting, the management, the technology roles. Share with me a little bit about Asset Health, what you're doing these days, and we'll start with that, and then we'll get into some engagement questions.
Sure. Well, the founders of Asset Health actually evolved in the employee benefit business. So the core of what we're doing is really trying to work with employers and align health, wellness, and well-being with the benefit strategy. So that may include helping employees strengthen their health literacy, understanding their benefits, what's a health savings account, how does my health impact that, all the way to risk identification and health improvement. And certainly in the last 3 to 5 years, there's been a stronger focus on a broader effort around well-being. Not only my physical health, but my mental and emotional health, my financial health. All these things contribute to how I feel, my overall health, my energy, and my opinion toward my employer and my work. So we really are a full service provider working with many organizations, and I love our approach and how we collaborate with other leaders in the industry.
That's great. You also are part of the International Association for Workplace Health Promotion, and that's where we actually officially met many moons ago. And so being able to share your insights in this movement of elevating this profile is important. In talking about engagement strategies, Charlie, one of the frustrations I think in our world is bringing a wellness program to light, engaging as many people as we can, but there's always that pocket of people that's just a little bit harder to engage.
Sure.
Can you share some insight with your experience on how do we get those hard to reach people engaged in a wellness program?
Well, that's a great question. And it's really, there's the art and the science of worksite health promotion and wellness. And I'll give you a couple examples. I think that if you and I were to go to an organization here in Michigan, and I'll pick a tough manufacturing environment, mostly male employees, the average age is 50. If we let off with a mindfulness program or yoga, with some Snickers and maybe a question, you have a lighter, I want to smoke here in my break. But if you think about their needs and interests and really position all the goodness that we provide in wellness in a way that answers the question, what's in it for me? We might get interested in engagement. And an example, again, I referenced I'm based in Michigan, and in the fall, I'm not a deer hunter, but a lot of hourly manufacturing employees love to deer hunt. So rather than offering a diabetes prevention program, what if we called it deer hunting conditioning, where we asked the question, are you fit to hunt? Are you ready to go into the woods and drag that 200-pound deer out of the woods without hurting your back? And most of the guys and gals that hunt would scratch their head and say, I'm not really ready for that. So the same kinds of things we might do in a wellness program or diabetes prevention, helping people start a walking program, help them learn how to lift a deer onto a truck and move it out of the woods. Even relaxation. We talk about mindfulness or yoga. Deep breathing exercises are important to a hunter because they get very nervous before they pull that trigger. So how to prepare your venison. All these components of what we normally do in a worksite health promotion program can be converted to a deer hunting conditioning program. And if I was based in South Carolina, I would call it golf conditioning.
Yeah.
If I was to do a program in the middle of Iowa in the fall or the spring, I might call it gardening conditioning. So you really have to find what are the interests and the needs of your population and be very creative in positioning all this worksite health and health promotion and wellness in a way that appeals to that population. One of the advantages of our work together with the International Association for Worksite Health Promotion is that we learn about people from other cultures. So we have a client in Ohio that has a high percentage of employees that are from India. And I've learned through our work at IEWHP that in the Indian culture, the concept of health coaching is viewed as a little something I don't want to do. Almost like how most people in the United States sometimes don't understand an employee assistance program. They feel that that's about addictions or things that I'm not comfortable with. So understanding the needs of each culture and what's going on in other areas can help me be a better wellness coordinator in Ohio or India, because I understand where people are coming from. So
I love that. You're really catering your programming to your population to really drive the best engagement. And I think that's really, really important for sustainability as well of programming. I think some wellness coordinators out there get frustrated that they try something, it just doesn't work. So having that line up with various programs designed to that population can be helpful.
Years ago, some of us did programs based on the national health themes. March is National Nutrition Month. Well, maybe nutrition is not my number one need in that population. If it's a financial service organization where you have a lot of younger employees, a lot of younger female employees, maybe healthy pregnancy is the priority that I need to think about. So again, you're right. You've got to think about the culture, the population, what's important to that organization. I worked with a large waste hauling company, and their number one need was sleep apnea. So this is an area that I didn't know a lot about, but we collaborated with experts in that area and really helped people to understand proper health and nutrition tips and exercise, so that maybe that's a part of the process to help them improve their sleep health. And at the end of the day, it led to better driving performance and less times drivers were falling asleep at the wheel, causing injuries and accidents. So yeah, it's really important to not think about the textbook, but think about who am I serving, who are the people, and what are their needs? How can I really meet those?
I love that. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts around, this space has been preaching forever around the importance for senior leadership support and how that can really help or hinder programming. So share with me a little bit your insights on that.
Sure. I'll use the same examples. I think I've learned a long time ago that you really have to understand the key business needs of the client you're serving. And if you do that, it's a lot easier to align what we're doing in wellness to meet those business needs. So there's a few examples. Number one, let's say the company is still concerned about medical spend. And that may not be a concern in Canada, but in the United States, diabetes and heart disease is still a very high cost area. We need to make sure that when we're communicating with leadership about our wellness program, that whatever we're recommending, it's designed to go back to impact that business need, the medical spend. So we might measure individual health, or we might measure change in risk migration, or maybe the claims. Let's say the goal is to prevent injuries. As a wellness person, I need to collaborate with health and safety and show how maybe my functional mobility assessments, my ability to measure how people move in 3 planes of motion, might contribute to the safety effort of preventing slips and falls or strain and sprain injuries. So that's another way that we've got to think about aligning wellness, not just with the employee needs, but the key business needs of the company. Let's say today what is quite important is recruiting the best talent and retention, keeping the best talent. So becoming employer of choice is a really great opportunity for wellness practitioners to demonstrate we are doing things that make this work site a positive, healthy place to be. In fact, not only the choices that the company makes in terms of the furniture we sit in or the foods that are available in the vending machine, but the fact that my supervisor actually encourages me to participate in departmental challenges shows that he or she cares about my well-being. So if employer of choice is the goal to attract the best talent, as a wellness professional, I must make sure that my program recommendations are designed to help impact that business need, if that makes sense to you as well.
Absolutely. I find that that's beneficial with really any programming, is that culture side. Yeah. Is if employees know that they're supported, that the message is consistent, that it's for them, that they feel cared for, then really the value of that wellness program speaks volumes to everybody involved.
You know, I think what's important is that you can't expect leadership to do the work either. Once you communicate that you're part of that strategy, you've got to help the leadership help you. So here's an example. Draft a memo from the leader of the company to the directors or VP level. And it's a memo stating we're making an investment in this worksite wellness program. It's been shown to have a positive impact on whatever the business need is. What I'd like you to do is to encourage voluntary participation with a specific goal of 60%. And I look forward to seeing you there. So he or she is communicating with these mid-level managers or the C-suite that this is important. The CEO is not going to draft that memo without your help. So you have to show them a draft, ask them to edit it and distribute it. And another example is all the way down to the frontline supervisor. Come up with a one-page PowerPoint. Most departmental managers have regular meetings. Help them communicate what we're doing in wellness, why it's important to the company, and how it can be beneficial to you. As a wellness person, you've got to do the front work for these leaders so they can communicate to the entire organization what we're doing, why we're doing it, and that we support it. Otherwise, they get too busy and a wellness professional will just be frustrated with the lack of leadership support.
Yeah, we've seen it probably both sides, where we see very engaged leadership teams, and we see sites, you're right, that don't have that support as much, and it's sometimes hard to get those folks involved with but as I say in some of our work, is like the C-suite folks don't necessarily have to go buy new yoga outfits to participate. They just need to share their enthusiasm for the program and encourage participation, and that really helps people understand the messaging behind it.
Yeah, leaders change. I think it's also important to have an understanding of how we're going to measure what we do. There's a concept called value on investment today, in addition to return on investment. And the value on investment is, Megan, what's important to you? And if you say, I want to know year over year, what % of our supervisors convey that they care about the well-being of our employees? That's a specific measure that you can survey your employees and ask, does your supervisor care about your well-being, and show year over year. But to have a consistent way to report on that and document it, whether it's individual health or health risk migration, or the % of smokers, but have that ready, because when those leaders leave to go to a new company and a new leader comes in, you need to be armed with that data to show, look, we're just not rolling out the balloons and free chair massages. We actually have a very comprehensive way that we go about understanding health and impacting our employees' health and well-being. And here's some of the data.
I love that it really follows that strategic direction in having strategy and having every wellness initiative and everything that the wellness coordinator potentially is trying to do follow that strategy. So they're starting to see some of that traction, the trends, and also, as you mentioned, reporting on that data is very important on a regular basis, not just willy-nilly. It has to be measurable and it has to be evaluated properly.
Yeah, I think it really is. And I really love the expansion of health and well-being to these other components. But even, you know, the social connections and community health and what we're doing, it has to be measured because leaders change and companies go through good times and bad. And I've been involved with some mega programs that have had multi-million-dollar budgets, but when times get tough without that data and a new CEO comes in, you're moving on to your next organization to promote wellness. So it's really important to, as you said, align wellness with the strategy, the mission of the company, and be very mindful of what their needs are and how can you help meet those needs in addition to your general health promotion goals and objectives.
Excellent. Loved our conversation, Charlie. It was very insightful as always, and appreciate you sharing your professional wisdom and insights in this very exciting topic and ever evolving topic of employee and corporate wellness.
Well, thanks, Megan.
Thanks again, Charlie.
Thank you. Take care.